So you think they can't take it away from you, huh, bucko? Well, they can and they have and they've done it before. Oh, you got the Second Amendment, so you think, the right to bear arms. Tell me, what arms are you able to bear? You keep a shirt on all day? Those arms? The ones without sleeves? Oh, those arms. Oh, you mean the ones that fire bullets or BBs or what? Which one do you have the right to carry? Any and all? No, I don't think so. There's already a list, folks, of arms that have been banned before and can't be used again. That can happen. It's called the National Firearms Act of 1934, long before you guys were around. But once the laws are on the books, they don't go away. If they don't go away, that means they can cherry pick the weapons. The AR-15 is no exception. Is that a 15 caliber or 35 caliber? I'm not sure. But the 50 caliber submachine gun was taken away in the 30s by this law after a thing called the Valentine's Massacre or St. Valentine's Massacre. And it took place in Chicago, and one alcohol selling gang, massacred a whole bunch of competing criminals. And when drug wars happened between drug dealers, guns come into play. And when people get drugged up or become emotionally whatever, angry, out to get even, and these guns are available, they can take it out on anybody because it's their right. No. Who lets that happen? The ones who don't bring the laws into play. That's who. Who does the NRA finance and support? Mostly Republicans. In fact, all Republicans are rated A in regard to weapons. From Romney on down, 13.5 million for Romney, 5 million for Rubio, Scott, all these A-rated Republicans for the NRA. Why do they give them that rating? Because they vote so that the limitations on the use of weapons won't happen. Not because they care about the people. They don't give a damn about that. They give a damn about the money. But the banning can't happen. The Second Amendment does not protect weapons from being banned. Can you go out and get a howitzer? That's a weapon. That's a military weapon. But so is the AR-15. You really know what you're talking about when it comes to weapons and your rights. If you have a weapon and it's a BB gun, you have a weapon. If it can't kill people willy-nilly, as opposed to going out and hunting, if you're a shitty shot, it's a weapon. So the submachine gun, this 50 caliber, was banned in those days. It's on the list, a submachine gun. That's what that's called. But there's also a sawed-off shotgun that's been banned. The gangsters used to cut off the shotguns to get a bigger spread and not necessarily kill, but in fact, actually, probably in some ways the most humane gun of all is the shotgun, because you make people suffer, but you don't have to kill them. You can spray them with the shotgun pellets, because that's what you're not shooting bullets with a shotgun. You're shooting a cylinder called the casing that's full of pellets, BBs, and of different weights and thicknesses. And sometimes they use salt inside the shotgun shell. Sometimes they use lead, and some things use copper things. But they're just pellets. And unless you have a big charge right into somebody's chest, oftentimes the person is just going to be howling and yelling for a long time, and they're going to be in real pain. But you haven't killed them. If your purpose is self-protection, I think a shotgun's a pretty good way to go. I have one. I was an expert shot with the M1 rifle when I was in the military. Expert means you shoot at 100 yards and you hit the bullseye 4 out of 5 times. And I had medals at one time. I don't know what happened to them from the military because I was in the military. And that's all nice. But the Second Amendment only says you have the right to bear arms. They don't say which arms, and not any and all arms are, because the list is already out there. If the list weren't out there, there was no list saying there was some weapons are banned. That'd be a different story. But there are some weapons that are banned, meaning other weapons can be banned also. Now we got a situation out here, good old Texas, the land of the free and the home of the stupid. We got a governor out there who he's managed a state that has its own electric grid, meaning they have their own electricity. They're the only other grid in the United States, Texas. There's 2 grids, 2 main grids. There's one in Hoover Dam, extension up to Glen Falls Canyon up north in Arizona, all from the Colorado River on the west, feeding electricity into California mainly, but Nevada and so forth. Those dams were built in the days of Hoover and FDR. Then the dam in the TVA was built through and during World War II. But Texas managed to keep their dam and their hydroelectric separate. And a year ago, they had a deep freeze. Great management by this governor, Governor Abbott. He's in a wheelchair. No, he got a limb fell on him and broke his back. He got a huge lawsuit out of it. He's a lawyer. He's got tremendous benefits out of that lawsuit, but he's still in a wheelchair. He's still paralyzed from the waist down, but he's also paralyzed from the neck up, because he said everything was fine in good old Uvalde, Texas. The police chief, it turns out, what did he do? He claimed he brought in, I think it was 19 or 17 officers and parked them inside the school, right where the shooter was, shooting people, while kids were calling on 911 from the room, watching people get shot in the face. This shooter made a point of blasting people in the face directly, because when they tried to do identification, they had to do DNA because the faces were destroyed on these children. This guy made a point of that. And he did that to his grandmother. He shot her in the face. She's still surviving. Amazing. But this governor is the real culprit here. He screws up their electric grid. 700 people died when that was going on. He managed so poorly. And that's the whole thing. Governing is called management. When you mismanage, these bad outcomes happen. He hasn't fired anybody yet. The local police chief made the guys stand in place, saying there was a barricade inside, and the gunman was not shooting at all, which was a lie. He was shooting the whole time, little by little by little by little, taking aim and treating the children as targets. One little girl said she smeared herself with blood to make him think that she was already dead or had been shot, therefore possibly dead. Nonetheless, the misery of all these children. The one teacher whose husband went home to his 4 children, she'd been already killed, to tell his children, and he dropped dead from a heart attack in telling his children. The misery, and this wonderful governor. Remember, it's important not what you say, it's what you do. We are what we do, not what we yap about. So when you consider who you want to manage things, Look at what they do, not what they give lip service to. Nonetheless, the facts are coming out and the people are getting more enraged because while this 40-minute period was going on the outside, video cameras were running, not just for video films, but for the audience called CNN, MSNBC, Fox, and all the rest had live camera work showing these local police officers knocking people around, threatening them with tasers, handcuffing a woman at one point, and then handcuffing her, but pushing people around like they were dirt, while their buddies were inside standing around scratching their rear ends, doing nothing while the shooting was going on. The excuse was, well, in a barricaded situation, it's perfectly safe because nobody's being shot. Well, that was a lie. There was no barricaded situation. And those people were standing on one side of the door, and on the other side, the guy was doing gun practice, target practicing on the faces of those children. And you don't want to limit guns? That doesn't limit your rights. It just takes away certain things that you shouldn't have a right to use. And certainly not at the age of 18. You don't want to do that because doing any limitation on your unquote rights. Well, let's see, you can drive around without safety belts on, right? No, driving's a privilege, not a right. Probably didn't know that. Maybe you did. Lots of things aren't what people think they are or want them to be. And oftentimes it turns out factually different. This story is continuing on and going to be told some more. It's enraging, and the people knowing that these police blocked them. We trusted them to be our police and protect our children, and they did the opposite. They did the opposite, including the police officer who was on duty to be from the school. They blocked the door open and unlocked. It propped open. Somebody didn't know who did it, but the police officer for the school had left the entire area, and he was racing back. This is the latest story on him. All the equipment on him, all the protective, all the weaponry, not even in the school. It's been proven, folks, these guys are more trouble than they're worth putting them in the schools. Some of them are ex-guards from prisons, from jails. And jail guards have great reputations of being truly human, kind people. They really take good care of prisoners in a very gentle way. And they certainly are worthy of being in charge of children. You trust that, don't you? They have the weapons. That's all. I'll show you my weapons. That's all I need to know. No, I need to know what the fuck you know what you're doing. If you even know anything about the weapon you have. Sorry for the language. But this is a disgusting, inexplicable, incompetent governor and all the people below him. Because he appoints sheriffs. He appoints people. And when you appoint people, it falls on your neck. You have the albatross. When you shoot the albatross out of the sky, you are doomed. And he's done that. This governor's done that. But to know about the albatross, you have to read writers like Coleridge, Shakespeare, people like that. If you haven't read those things, those are meaningful symbols. It's like saying, gee, there's a cactus plant over there and I need water and I'm in the desert. Oh, I think I'll use that cactus plant for firewood. Somebody says to you, don't do that. You'll drain all the water out and we won't have any water. Well, I want firewood. To hell with that. I want what I want when I want it. The American way. The number one American way. Thank you for this tonight. And thank you for the production of this program. And your comments are welcome. Thank you. Yeah, Alex.